Dear students, Namaste and welcome you to the next class of Compulsory English, Grade 8. Dear students, let's begin the class with the revision of the previous class. Dear students, can you recall what we did in our previous class? Alright, we made comparisons of different things. That's good. Now I want to check whether you learn to make comparisons or not. Please look at this picture. Here you can see the picture of a family. Do you see there? Okay, look at the picture. You can see grandfather, you can see father, mother, and 3 children, Pema, Aryan, and Kavita. Now, can you compare them? Okay, that's fine. You said, very good. Grandfather is the eldest. Okay, that's fine. Grandfather is the eldest. Okay, so you used the superlative degree here. Means you compared the age of grandfather with the age of all the family members. That's fine. Okay, so grandfather is the oldest of all. That's fine. Now, can you say next sentence? Can you make next comparison among all the members? All right, you said the father is taller. The father is taller than the mother. Okay, so here you compared father and mother. So as you have compared between two members, you use the comparative degree taller than. That's very good. That's fine. So the father is taller than the mother. Okay, among these family members, who do you think is the youngest? Can you say? Right, Aryan, this child, Aryan is the youngest. That's fine. Aryan is the youngest. Dear students, you did well. You have learnt it well. Okay. Very good, dear students. Now, let's move on to today's class. So, do you know what we are going to do today? Wonderful. We are going to start the class with listening activities. So, please look at the listening activities given in the textbook. Look at the first activity there. A. Look at the picture and answer the questions. You can see the picture here. You can see two creatures here. Do you know the names of them? Can you say? Okay, there is a question also. What do you see in the picture? What do you see? Okay. Right, you said the first one is a toad and the second one is a frog. That's good. A toad and a frog. That's fine. Now, you have a next question. How are they similar and different to each other? You see there, when you look at the pictures, somewhere they look similar, and if you look deeply, thoroughly, you find the little differences also. Look at the skin there. See? Can you say now the differences? Can you say now the differences? Okay. So, see there, both of them do not have tails. Okay. Similarly, frogs, the second one, frogs, you said. Frogs have smooth skin, whereas toads, they have rough skin. Okay. So, look at the skin of this toad. It looks quite rough. And look at the skin of this frog. It looks quite smooth. So this is the difference. Okay. Now, in this listening text, you are going to learn more differences between a toad and a frog. Okay. So before you listen to the audio and learn the differences, you have to go through the exercises first. You have to look at the exercises thoroughly. So look at the next exercise, that is B. So before you listen, you need to know here what you need to do. So it says listen to the audio, tick if the information about frogs and toads is similar, and cross if it is different. Okay, look at the information. Place for babies to live, place for adults to live, types of skin, shape. These are the information given about the toad and frog. Now, if you think the information is similar, means they both live on the same place, then you will write or you will put a tick mark. If they live in a different places, then you will put a cross mark. In the same way, if the adults live in the same place, you will put a tick. If in a different place, you will put a cross. In the same way, if they do have similar types of skin, you will put a tick, and if different, then you will put a cross. Similarly, shape, if they have similar shape, you will put a tick. If different shapes, then you will put a cross. Okay, got it? Now look at the next activity that you need to do while listening to the audio. Look at the first question. Where do toads and frogs hatch their eggs? The second, which of the two continue to live in water? Third, how is the skin of the toads? And the last one, when do the two make croaking sound? So you listen to the audio and answer these questions. Now, I'm telling you some information about doing these activities. So see, you listen to the audio for the first time. When you listen to the audio, you'll not do the activities, any activities. You'll just listen and be familiar with the audio. You'll not do anything else. Okay. Then, when I play the audio for the second time, you'll do exercise B. Okay. You'll put a tick or cross. When I play the audio for the second time, you'll do this exercise. And then we'll discuss whether you did the answers correctly or not. We'll discuss your answers. Then, when I play the audio for the third time, you'll do exercise C. That means you listen to the audio and answer these questions. And after you complete this, after you complete the exercise, we'll discuss your answers, whether they are right or wrong. Okay? Did you get the idea? Very good then. Now get ready to listen to the audio then. Okay? Are you ready to listen? Okay, please listen then.
Toads and frogs begin their lives in similar ways. The eggs hatch in or near water, and the babies, called tadpoles, spend the first part of their lives living in the water. When they become adults, frogs continue to live in the water, while adult toads usually live on the land. When you come across one of these animals, how can you tell whether it's a toad or a frog? The easiest way is to touch its skin. Frogs have smooth skin, while the skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy. Their shape is somewhat different also, with toads being plumper and broader than frogs. What is a more typical sound on a summer evening than a chorus of croaking frogs and toads? Both of these animals make their croaking sound by inflating a sac in their throat.
Okay, students, I hope you heard the audio and be familiar with it. Now it's the time to do the exercises. So get ready to do exercise B. Okay? You'll listen to the audio again and you'll do this exercise. I hope you are clear about doing this exercise. You'll be just keeping or putting a tick mark or a cross mark if it's similar, tick mark, if it's different, cross mark. Okay, be ready to do the exercise. Please listen to the audio and do the exercise.
Toads and frogs begin their lives in similar ways. The eggs hatch in or near water, and the babies, called tadpoles, spend the first part of their lives living in the water. When they become adults, frogs continue to live in the water, while adult toads usually live on the land. When you come across one of these animals, how can you tell whether it's a toad or a frog? The easiest way is to touch its skin. Frogs have smooth skin, while the skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy. Their shape is somewhat different also, with toads being plumper and broader than frogs. What is a more typical sound on a summer evening than a chorus of croaking frogs and toads? Both of these animals make their croaking sound by inflating a sac in their throat.
Okay, students, have you done the activity? Did you complete? Very good. Now let's discuss the answers then. Okay, let's look at the first information here. Place for babies to live. Do the babies of frogs and the babies of toads live in the similar place or a different place? What did you hear in the audio? What did you write there? Okay, means the places for babies to live is similar, you think. Do you know why? Why this is correct? Okay, listen.
The eggs hatch in or near water, and the babies, called tadpoles, spend the first part of their lives living in the water.
See, the audio says it's the similar place. They has in water or near water. That's why it's right. Now let's look at the next information. Place for adults to live. Do they live in the similar place or different place? What have you written? Oh, different? Is it? Once you check.
When they become adults, frogs continue to live in the water, while adult toads usually live on the land.
Is it different? Yes, exactly. They live in a different place. So, you see, the adult frogs continue to live in water, and the toads live on land, it says. That's why it's different. Now the third information, type of skin. Let's see. What have you written? What have you written? Similar or different? Oh, different. Okay. Is it so? Let's check then.
Frogs have smooth skin, while the skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy.
Okay, so it says different. That's why different. That's fine. Now look at the shape. What have you written? Similar? No. Just listen. Is it similar or different? Oh, different. Okay, let's listen then.
Their shape is somewhat different also, with toads being plumper and broader than frogs.
See, it says somewhat different. That's why it's different. Okay, now you did this exercise well. Now it's the time to do the next exercise, exercise C. This time also, please listen to the audio and write the answers to these questions, okay? So get ready to listen and do the exercise. Here goes the audio.
Toads and frogs begin their lives in similar ways. The eggs hatch in or near water, and the babies, called tadpoles, spend the first part of their lives living in the water. When they become adults, frogs continue to live in the water, while adult toads usually live on the land. When you come across one of these animals, how can you tell whether it's a toad or a frog? The easiest way is to touch its skin. Frogs have smooth skin, while the skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy. Their shape is somewhat different also, with toads being plumper and broader than frogs. What is a more typical sound on a summer evening than a chorus of croaking frogs and toads? Both of these animals make their croaking sound by inflating a sac in their throat.
Okay. Dear students, I hope you have completed the task. Have you completed? Have you written the answers to all questions? Very good. Now, let's discuss your answers one by one, okay? Okay. So, what's the first question? Where do toads and frogs hatch their eggs? And what did you write? Please say again. Oh, you wrote in or near water. Are you sure this is the right answer? Okay, once you listen.
The eggs hatch in or near water, and the
See there, what it says, eggs hatch in or near water. So your answer is right. That's good. Now let's look at B. So which of the two continue to live in water? That means the toads, or the frogs? And what's your answer? What have you written? Toads or frogs? Oh, you wrote frogs. Right. Is it right then? Let's listen.
When they become adults, frogs continue to live in the water, while adult toads usually live on the land.
So see, it says frogs continue to live in water. That's why your answer is right. Very good. Let's go to C. So the question is, how is the skin of the toads? And what's your answer? What have you written? All right, you wrote rough and bumpy. Okay, is it so? Let's listen.
The skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy.
See? It's there, rough and bumpy. Now, let's move on to the last question. When do the two make croaking sound? And what have you written? When? Oh, you wrote summer evening. All right, let's see.
What is a more typical sound on a summer evening than a chorus of croaking frogs and...
Okay, it says summer evening. That's why your answers are right. Wonderful, you did well, dear students. Now, let's move on to the next activity. Okay, students, now is the time to do exercise D. So see there what it says. Recall as many similarities and differences between toads and frogs as you can, then share in the class. So you just listen to the audio about the differences and similarities between toads and frogs. Okay. Now you have to write all the similarities that you can remember and all the differences that you can remember. Okay. So let's talk about the similarities. What were the similarities between the toads and the frogs? Let's see. See, both of them has their eggs in near water. Both of their babies live in water. Both of these animals make a croaking sound. That was the similarities between frogs and toads. Now, let's discuss the differences between the frogs and the toads that we heard in the audio. What were they? Can you recall? Okay, so frogs live in water, whereas toads live on land. Next, frogs have smooth skin, while the skin of toads is generally rough and bumpy. And the third one, toads being plumper and broader than frogs. Okay, this is the third difference. Okay, students, you really did a wonderful job while doing listening activities. Now, we're going to do the next activity. Can you guess what it is? All right, we're going to deal with grammar activities given under Grammar 2. Let's look at them. So the first activity, see there, study the sentences and identify the word class of the words in red. So you do have 4 sentences here. There are words in red. Let's see them. A. Others are completely lost. See the word completely? It is red in color. Next, most importantly, we use them for the original purpose. So see the word importantly. Next, see, smartphones have drastically changed our lives. Look at the word drastically. And the last one, we are constantly connected. Look at the word constantly. So, completely, importantly, drastically, and constantly. These words are red in color. Now, can you say the word class of these words? Means are these nouns or verbs, adjectives, adverbs? What are they? Can you say? Very good. These words are adverbs. That's good. These words are adverbs. Completely, importantly, drastically, constantly. They are adverbs because they show the manner. They show how things happened. Okay? So these are called adverbs. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to learn the comparisons of adverbs in the same way as we did the comparisons of adjectives in the previous class, means comparative and superlative. The same thing happens with adverbs also. Okay, let's look at some examples. Look at these two pictures. Two people are driving the scooter. They are riding the scooters. Okay, these two people are riding the scooters. Now let's see how do they ride. Okay, see. Okay, see, let's see again. Let's see again how do they ride. Okay, so that. So how did the men ride and how did the woman ride? Can you compare their riding? Okay, so you mean the girl is riding the scooter more smoothly than the man. You see, you just watch the video. Okay. Similarly, let's look at next example. Okay, you can see two animals running there, a dog and a horse. Let's look at how do they run. Okay, who ran the fast? So who ran fast? Huh? Okay, who ran quickly? All right, certainly the dog. Okay, so still the dog and horse, they are running, and the dog we just saw ran quickly. So we can say the dog is running more quickly than the horse. Okay, let's look at the next example. Let's look at these pictures. So look at the time when the boy wakes up. It's almost 20 past 5. And look at the girl. What time she gets up? See there? It's almost 35 past 11. Okay, see there. And look at the man. He's still sleeping. It's already almost 10 past to 7. Sorry, 10 past 7. See, now can you say who woke up the earliest? Right, the boy gets up the earliest of all. So, here in all these examples, we make the comparison of adverbs. Okay, the process is similar to the adjectives, comparative degrees and superlative degrees we use. If we compare between two, we use comparative degree. If we compare with all, then we use superlative degree. The process is similar to comparing the adjectives. Okay, students, now I hope you have learnt the ways of comparing using adverbs. Now let's move on to the exercise. Look at exercise B in your book. So, see there. Complete the following sentences with the correct forms of the adverbs given in the brackets. Okay, so look at there. In every sentence, there is an adverb in the bracket. Look at A. My mother drives, there is blank space, ... carefully in the bracket, then me. In the same way, all the sentences do have adverbs in the brackets. And you have to use those adverbs, okay, in the blank spaces, but correct forms means comparative form or superlative form. And let me remind you, if we are making comparisons between two, we use comparative form, and if we are comparing one with all, then we use the superlative form. I hope you know well. If so, let's do the exercise. Okay, are you ready? Okay, let's start with A. So the sentence in A, my mother drives ... carefully in the bracket, then me. Carefully is the adverb given here. Now, which form of the adverb carefully do you use here? Comparative or superlative? Very good, comparative, because we are comparing two people, my mother and me. So, your answer will be very good, more carefully. Okay, that's good. Now, let's move on to B. Angela walks, there is hard in the bracket after blank space, then me. But Linda walks again hard of all of us. See there, in both the blank spaces, you are going to use the form of the same adverb hard. Now, let's look at the first. Angela walks, then me. Which form? Comparative or superlative? Okay, that's good. It's comparative because we are comparing Angela and me. That's why your answer will be harder. And later, look at there, but Linda walks of all of us. So here see, all of us means it's compared to all. That's why you have to use, very good, the superlative degree. And what's the superlative degree of hard then? Okay, it's hardest. Very good. Well done. Now let's move on to C. Minu sings beautifully of all the people in the choir. So see there, we have the word beautifully, and here whether you have to use the comparative or the superlative degree of the adjectives. And what do you think you will be using? Okay, superlative degree. Why? Why superlative? Oh, you mean here Minu, the way Minu sings is compared to all the people, okay, in the choir. That's why superlative. Now, can you tell me what's the superlative degree of beautifully then? Can you say? Okay, so, okay, most beautifully, that's good. So, Minu sings most beautifully of all the people in the choir. That's good. Now, let's move on to D. Look at the sentence first. Our teacher explains the lessons clearly than your teacher. So, what's the adverb here? Good. Clearly is the adverb given in the brackets. Now, you have to decide whether you have to use the comparative form or the superlative form. So, what are you going to use here? Comparative or superlative? Superlative? I don't think so. Do you need to use superlative form here? Okay, no. You have to use comparative because there is a comparison between two teachers, our teacher and your teacher. Okay, that's why comparative form. And what's the comparative degree of the adverb clearly then? Can you say? Okay, very good. It's more clearly. So the sentence reads, our teacher explains the lessons more clearly than your teacher. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at E. Mingma arrived at the meeting early than Nita. Okay. Mingma arrived at the meeting early than Nita. So which one is the adverb here? Okay, early is the adverb. That's good. Now, which degree of adverb you are going to use? Comparative or superlative? Can you say? Comparative? Why? Why comparative? Okay, so you mean there is comparison between Mingma and Nita, two people, okay? Comparison between two people, two girls. That's why comparative degree. Okay, that's fine. Then what's the comparative form of early then? Is it more early? Is it so? No? Okay, it's not. It's earlier. That's good. So, what will be there in the blank space? Earlier. So, it reads, Mingma arrived at the meeting earlier than Nita. Very good. Well done, dear students. Let's continue. Look at F. What's the sentence here? Gina picked the mangoes first of all. Okay, see there. What's the adverb given in the brackets? Fast. Very good. And have you decided the form of adverb here? Superlative or comparative? Okay, then tell me, which form are you going to use? All right, superlative, because Gina is compared with all the people there. So, superlative form of the adverb will be used here. Now, what's the superlative form of the word fast then? Can you say? Okay, it's fastest. Very good. So, in the blank space, fastest. Gina picked the mangoes fastest of all. Okay. Now, let's move on to G. Let's look at the sentence here. My mother cooks well than I do, but my father does well of all of us. We do have two blank spaces here, but the same adverb well and well. So you have to decide which forms of the adverb well are going to be used in these blank spaces. Let's look at the first one. My mother cooks than I do. So see, there is a comparison between two, my mother and I. That's why comparative form you know well. But what is the comparative form of the adverb well then? What's the comparative form? Can you say? All right, that's good. It's better. Very good. Well done. So, my mother cooks better than I do, but my father does of all of us. So, which form of well are you going to use here then? Superlative or comparative? Okay, very good. Superlative, because there is a comparison with all of us. But do you know the superlative form of the adverb well? What's it? Okay, it's best. Very good. So, my mother cooks better than I do, but my father does best of all of us. Dear students, you are doing well. Now let's move on to it. I speak English fluently than my younger sister. So what's the adverb in the bracket? Okay, fluently. So which form of the adverb fluently are you going to use here? Comparative or superlative? Okay, comparative, because there is comparison between two, I and my younger sister. And what's the comparative degree of the word fluently then? Of the adverb fluently? Okay, more fluently. Very good. I speak more fluently than my younger sister. That's good. Now look at I. Look at the sentence. The teacher arrived late in the brackets than the students. So what's the adverb in the brackets? Late. And can you tell me which form of late you are going to use here? Comparative or superlative? Well done. Comparative, because there is comparison between the teacher and the students. So what's the comparative form of late then? Can you tell me? What's the comparative form of late? All right, very good. Later. So our answer there will be later. So the teacher arrived later than the students. Okay, dear students, look at the last sentence there. What's there? The driver was seriously injured than the helper. Okay, so again there is a comparison between two, the driver and the helper. That's why we are going to use the comparative form. Very good. So what's the comparative form of the adverb seriously then? Very good. More seriously. So more seriously will be your answer. Okay, students, you did very well. Now I have a task for you. Okay, look at this. This is your assignment. How do you do the following activities? Compare them with your friends. Okay, you will compare how you do with how your friend does. Okay, there is one example for you. For example, dance. How do you dance and how does your friend dance? See there, I dance better than my friend, but Neetu dances the best of all. See, first we have used the comparative degree, and in the second one we have used the superlative degree. So better than and best of all. Okay. In the same way, you will be doing or you will be writing comparing you and your friend. Okay. So you do have some activities here: sing, write, play guitar, walk, study, run, draw, and speak. So you will compare how do you sing and how does your friend sing, and then you will make the comparison as we did in the example. This is your assignment, dear students. Dear students, we are at the end of today's class. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. In today's class, mainly we did the listening activities as well as we learned the comparison of adverbs. Dear students, thank you very much for your active participation. We'll meet again in the next class. Till then, goodbye. Namaste.